Audit within a span of time. They'll be giving you sometimes 10 days or 15 days. You have to complete the audit, a 50 crore company like that. Okay, so you should able to build your capacity when you join audit firm. You should be able to build a capacity like a minimum 50 to 100 crore a turnover company. You should be able to do the audit independently, and then when your principal auditor comes and asks you many questions, you should be able to give all the papers. Initially, when you join the firm the first year, you cannot do it up. They'll put you in the vouching only. They will tell you verify these bills and expenses, whether bills are there, TDS directed or not. Like this, you have to keep on checking BRS reconciliation. So you'll be given this, and as and when the time goes, you should start doing and how to review the GL general ledgers, do the scrutiny of all the GL accounts. So then you will come to know the checklist preparation, questionnaires, whether all the checklist points have been covered during the course of it. You will pick it up. So by end of second year or third year, you will be trying to be independent, and up down you will get those freshers for the articleship, and they'll be giving you. So this is how you have to develop your career, especially when you also join audit firm. When I was in audit firm, within the second year end itself, I took the chance to lead the audit for 2-3 companies independently, and under me, the freshers will be joining. I'll be deploying them for doing this vouching and all. Okay, and by the time when I came out from the audit firm, it was like almost like I was handling some 5 to 6 companies independently, and under me, the freshers were there, and it is a cycle. It keeps on going about it. Okay, let us not deviate. Come back here. So especially in this chapter, you have to keep a basic things of the mind. This is most important in the theory questions. I think in one attempt this question came in the examination. What are the major points to be kept in mind with auditor, especially during the course of audit of special entities? Because this is a common point, like constitution of organization, which means that constitution of organization means, like, for example, it could be a partnership firm, it could be a company law, it could be a trust, it could be a sole proprietor. So what type of constitution? If it's a partner, means how many partners? 2 or 3 partners. If there is anything change in the constitution, like admission or retirement, in the terms of company means it could be directors, number of directors increasing, or some directors might retire. So that is about the constitution. Okay, and not only that, sometimes the object of the business might change. So you have to examine the nature of constitution. You have to determine the rules or bylaws or deeds or regulation. Rules means if it's a company, means company's law you have to follow. If it is a society, means you have to follow the bylaws. If it's a partnership, deed means there will be a deed. Even charitable trust also there will be a deed, or it could be any other regulations. The most important thing is, in every organization there will be some members. If it is a partnership company, means there will be partners will be there. So you should know this partner, how much power he have with an organization. Some partners, they will say he cannot sign anything, but he can place order to procure materials for the business. He can place orders to the vendors, so he'll be having more powers. Another partner, he cannot place anything, but he has the power to approach bank, avail loan facility, place fixed deposits. So like this, you should understand in any organization, it could be partnership firm or companies, you should know each member what are their powers, how the governance has been fixed onto it, delegation of authority powers. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. So understand the background and then try to memorize the points. If you straight away do memorize means it will not work out in the examination. Definitely will forget. So understand what I'm trying to say, and whatever the key points, what I'm mentioning here is it is only the key points. That in the examination, sometimes if you forget everything, at least you can present these key points. That will help you to frame a complete sentences. Okay, you should write I mean, these key points. What you're seeing here is you can present. You can I mean you can represent these key points in the examination. When you have a situation that you are not able to recap that entire answer for that particular question, then you try to reproduce these key points at least. But in reality, you have to write a complete full sentences. Don't try to write points in an incomplete manner. You should give a full information to the examiner that about this point. And most important thing is you have to write point wise. Theory papers anywhere, any section, financial management, cost accounting, law, even accounting standards in the the FR paper, you have to present them point wise. Don't try to write any answers in paragraph wise. You will not get marks. He'll give only one mark. He'll give. Make the examiner more comfortable what you are trying to say. All right. So you examine the minutes books, especially in the company in the companies. Every quarter they'll be having a board meeting. Okay, so every once in a quarter. So in the board meeting, many decisions will be taken, and also yearly once this AGM will take place where they will present the financials. The AGM only where the auditors will be appointed for all companies. So you will come to know all these minutes, the points, what are the points they have discussed in the meeting. Minutes means the points, what they have discussed. So you should go through that. In that minutes, some critical decision might be taken. They will say, after 2 years, we are going to buy this 10 crore machinery which will produce match industries, matchsticks. In Tamil, they will say TPD. So this match industries, it is mostly in South India. So especially if you do audit in fireworks industries or match factories, you can see the decision will be taken in the board meeting or general meeting that okay, within 2 years existing machinery will be discarded because that machinery has been causing more and more repairs, impacting the productions. So we will buy a new unit from importing from Germany. So like these things, you have what will company know. So you will be able to know whether the company are going to purchase the new machinery with the own funds or bank loan. You should also think of it while buying this new unit. Your working capital should not affect onto it, because what will happen is if you pay more EMI, it will impact your cash flow and your routine day-to-day businesses. Okay, so AS3 cash flow statement also you have to foresee the business. Sometimes because of this wrong decision taken, it will impact your going concern business. Some businesses will be going smoothly. Going concern means the organization is driving the business in the foreseeable future. It is going on without any disturbance. It is going on operating smoothly. It is going on. The business operations are being operated smoothly. But imagine if you're taking unwanted loans or you're giving guarantees to some concerns and they are not repaying, ultimately it will attract you. Even sometimes if this company is giving guarantee to some other company and that company is not repaying the loan on time, with the bankers you have to repay the money. So what will happen is there is a risk is involved. So like these things, minutes books, you have to go through it thoroughly. It could be any organizations, powers, to what extent each member is having the power. Okay, the most important is evaluate the control systems. Yes, when you say control systems, it means that every department will be having a system like how to execute the process flow. Like for example, if you take the banking, morning the cashier will come, he'll open the safe. Two people has to open the safe. One will be the bank manager, another key will be the cashier. Both the people will open the cash counter. Okay, that safe wallet will be there inside. And then he checks to verify the cash, morning opening balances. And then He gives the token systems, day-to-day daily deposits by the public, and then payments will be there. So there is a mechanism system is followed by the cashier. If you take a procurement department, the person who's there, the storekeeper, he will place order. He will ensure that that inventory is very low level. He cannot place order where there is a stock is still there. Further, if he place order means it's a over. I mean, you're booking, you're making inventory load at higher position, overcasting. So if you even if you place more orders, what will happen? If your closing stock value will increase. So like this, every department there is a control system in place. The next one is accounting policies and accounting records. Yes, we all know proper accounting policy and AS has to be followed. And then receipts and expenditure. Yes, you have to be very cautious. Every nature of business depends upon the nature of business. For example, real estate industry. So the major is rental income. You will be having many properties. All these properties are leased out to the tenants. So if you have example, if I have a mall, okay, inside that mall I'll be giving many outlets for the ice cream shops, F&Bs, many some people will be having the fashion brands, shoe brands, okay, many anchor tenants will be there, coffee shops like this. So I have to collect the rentals from them, cinema theaters, so the PVR, so they have to pay rent to the mall owners to operate the cinemas. So like these things it will take place. And then the verifications of, so you should be very clear. Receipts means what type of income for that industry. If it is a trading means, yes, sales will be the major thing. Okay, that will be a direct income. Indirect income will be interest from fixed deposits or any dividend you might be received. Even rental income for like for example, the business will be doing in the ground floor. The first floor, that person might have been leased to some tenant. So that rental income will be a partial like indirect income only. Whereas for a real estate industry, rental will be the major income, and the remaining income will be the other indirect incomes. It could be capital gains, it could be rental income from house property, income from other sources, lotteries, dividends, many things can be there of it. Then assets and liabilities. Most important is for all the assets, you have to ensure that title deed is in the name of entity's name. Then only you'll be able to claim the depreciation. Okay. Sometimes it will be the name of partner's name. Still you can claim depreciation. So you have to make sure that title deed are properly being defined clearly. Okay. And especially assets, you have to make sure that any mortgage has taken place, any the term loan has been availed by the entity, what purpose, who has taken the term loan, the person has borrowed, whether he is having a power of the members, and to what extent, whether bank has given too much loan, okay, and you should ensure that whether because of this loan, whether the entity is having the capacity to repay loan. Sometimes they will take the loan, and what will happen is it will become a failure. COVID time, I have seen many industries have become dissolved, insolvency, completely dissolution. Some people they purchased new machines and they couldn't be able to start the production unit. And obviously, bank what happens is they will not wait for you. They will try to recover the money from you. Even though the many subsidies came from the banks, what will happen is interest will keep on adding. You might have borrowed only 10 lakh or 1 crore. By putting up all your interest will reach to 1.5 crore. So what will happen? So you're completely working capital will get distorted completely. So you have to ensure that these things of it. Okay. I'm going very slowly. The reason is because these are the basic points. As and when we move on to the next slide, I'll be pressing the accelerator. If you have any doubt to slow, please let me know of it. That is why I gave you a big brief onto it. There is a chances of that this question will come in the examination. So you have to be very cautious enough. Now, as I said, in this chapter, we'll be discussing about the CAG audit, government audits and all. Today, we will cover exclusively on the CAG, okay? And then tomorrow we'll try to we'll try to go in a little bit of speed enough, because since today is the first day, I don't want to put more dosage injection for you. Okay. So today CAG, I am pretty sure every time either the 4 mark or even 2 mark questions, they have been asking questions at every time. When I was studying, compulsory minimum 8 marks CAG has been coming. I used to score marks like anything, because straight case, because in this chapter you cannot omit any question, any section. Okay. Now coming back to here again, I'm repeating whatever points you are seeing here. This is just before your examination. you can do the revision. I will share this PowerPoint presentation once this chapter is completed. Don't worry. But again, I'm repeating is, don't try to represent the same points in the examination, but you have to complete the sentences. These points will helpful for you before examination, like a crash course revision. Okay, or even sometimes, as I said before, if you're not able to recap the answer, at least try to put these points. At least you will get some 1 mark or 2 mark at least for a 4 mark question. Even for 6 mark question also, you might get 2 to 3 marks at least minimum. Okay. Now background. What is the CNAG? Because all the government audit sections, it is being done by the CNAG. Okay. He ensures the accountability, because the most thing is, because he is having the responsibilities there. So you should ensure that whether the public money are being accounted properly and spent properly, because all the corporations, everything comes under this government. Under government, many things are there. It could be union or it could be a state. Okay, so all the corporations, municipalities, everything comes under this. So they do audit for the entire thing. State legislative control of all expenditure through insistence, most important point. Okay, and you have to ensure that main idea is none expenditure will be incurred unless it is voted with the parliament, because we all know to spend any government money, it has to be approved in the parliament, and majority of the members has to vote for that. Okay, and then that once it is approved, that money will be spent from the consolidated funds. Don't change the nomenclature words. You have to follow the same word. Nomenclature don't change. So this consolidated funds, from this account only, consolidated funds, they will spend the money. And post spending, you have to make sure that it has been properly accounted, and also supportings are there, and it has been scrutinized with the Public Accounts Committee. So there is a committee involved with them. At the end of the day, CNAG is the main person. He reports, he prepares the report, and then he submits it to the president. Now, this is the background. The next section is auditing. What it is. The objective is you have to independently examine the financial statements. So as auditor, you have to examine independently. There should not be any influence on you. Even if I come and influence you, please don't check that part. No, you have to examine thoroughly and evaluate them. Purpose is you have to evaluate and verify them, whether everything is being accounted properly or not. Okay, and the most important thing is, if you find any audit findings, if you feel that something, there is a glitch is there, okay, or a malpractice or any frauds or errors has taken place, you have to prepare a report. Not only that, you have to give a conclusion for that, and a recommendation also, what is the corrective action can be taken, because so that the same audit findings is not repeated the next year. Because even still in some companies, there will be some situation, they will not be able to follow the procedures correctly. But what to do, due to some unforeseen situation, that keeps on recurring, repeating, happening throughout the year. But when you do the verification, there will not be any frauds. Only the control system and the failures might take place. So because of that, you will still you keep on issuing the audit findings in the report, and you will be telling corrective actions which cannot be implemented. But the most important is, whenever you issue any audit report, you have to make sure that whatever the audit findings are there, in the coming year, make sure that the management is implemented based on a recommendation and corrective actions are taken. And the most important thing is, the purpose of the auditor is what? The management, every management will prepare the financial statement. Our duty is to express an opinion, whether a clean report or qualified report or unclean report or any disclaimer opinion report. We will be studying these things in the auditor's report chapter. But I'm giving a high brief level. The main duty of auditor is he has to express an opinion. That is where the opinion will be given in the auditor's report. So the report says that management responsibility is to prepare the financial statement. Yes, if it is a listed company, yes, the management prepares. Even CAG2, they prepare the financials. Okay, but actually there are some companies where, like MLM companies, as I said, we used to prepare the financials. The articleship staff will sit and prepare the financial statements. You will be getting the experience of preparing the financial statements, and you yourself will evaluate the opinion. You will get an experience of it. You will be sitting with the principal auditor and you will understand how he expresses his opinion, how the financials are being prepared, notes and accounts, audit report, RO, director's report. So many things you have to keep on preparing. Okay. So if you go to the website, you will be having many samples on the financial statements of audit reports. Okay. In India, we are studying accounting standards. Since I am here, I am forced to study IFRS. If I am not studying IFRS, I am outdated. That's a finished class. If you ask me IFRS, I will say this. I mean, I should be on the toes. Okay, which are the standards applicable for real estate industries in terms of IFRS? So, like this, you should also be very clear enough in this time. Objective is accounting of public funds, appraisal of government policies, public accounting, public administration, and accounting of all the officials. And if you find anything lapses, you have to ensure that corrective actions are taken. Okay, so in the CNG, sometimes they will ask you about the objectives. Be very specific. You cannot write beating around the bush, writing paragraph. Only 3 points means 3 points only. Probably in the institute, when you read the institute material, you will be having a complete statement. Okay. So, but this key points will help you to recap during the examination point of time. Now, again, legal framework. How the framework is been structured in terms of CNG? Yes, there is a person has to be appointed. When any person is appointed, the same person has to be removed. Someone will be appointed. So always appointment and removal of auditors will be there. In terms of companies, private company or public company, in the AGM, the meeting takes place and he will be appointed. Okay. And nowadays, what happens is there is a tenure period is there. Block. You cannot, if you are a proprietor, you can continue for 5 years only. Rotation will be there. After the next 5 years, you cannot do audit for the same company. Then again, after the 11th year onwards, you can do the audit. You can do the audit for the same company. If it's audit for means, you can be a audit for the first 10 years, and then when it goes to the next 10, the 11th year onwards, you cannot do the audit. So similarly, so you have a rotation basis. So like this, when you have been appointed, you can do audit only for a certain period of time in terms of companies. Whereas for the government audit, it is totally different. Okay, so I'm just giving you a brief on it, how it works on it. So appointment means he is been appointed by the president, and he shall not be removed until unless due to misconduct. As I said, only for the normal companies he is been removed, but whereas for the CNAG and all, except due to misconduct. Okay, in case of a judge, Supreme Court removal can be done loss of 2/3 of members. Sometimes he may be a Supreme Court judge actually. So the removal can be done not less than 2/3 of the members until it should be voted in the parliament too. So they are the one, parliament are the one to define laws, how the CNG rules has to be followed, and even the salary will be defined with them only with the CNG. Okay. And the most important thing is parliament is compelled to make laws on the constitution. As I said, the constitution, the beginning of the first chapter slide we studied. Every organization there will be constitution. So here also you should define nature of service determined by the president, and you should consult the concerned person who is doing it, serving an audit, concerned person serving in the Indian Audit and Accounts Department, powers of CNG. So like this, in the constitution, you have to define very clearly what are the nature of service. Who is defined? President is the power determine the president. So he determines not only him, even the salaries they've been determined by them. Okay, so you have to make sure that how it is being framed out, the legal framework is being defined, the CNG. And as I said, the tenure period is equal to judge of a Supreme Court. Okay, salary also will be determined by them. He can hold office the same as of a judge. See the power of CNG. It's nice, right? And then the most simple various constitution. In the 2-mark question, they might ask you what is 149, what is 150, what is 151. So each and every articles, they have defined the scope. So 149 defines about the duties and the powers. So duty means you do have some certain responsibilities. Power means you do have some certain powers during the course of audit. In relation of union and state, as I said, it could be union or a state or any authority, any body in the government part of the section. Article 150 is about the accounts of union and state will be kept in such a form as advised by CNG. So CNG will be advising that accounts will be prepared in such form for both union and state. And once the accounts are prepared, CAG report will be submitted to the president. As I said, it will be laid before the House of the Parliament. So president is the one defining the constitution. They are the one determining the salary for the CNAG. CNAG are the one preparing the accounts in such prescribed format, and then they are being submitted to the president. So this is how the legal framework takes place, right from the appointment renewal, background, objectives. See, each section can be asked in the 2-mark or even 4-mark questions. So you have to be very cautious, understand the question, what has been asked. Sometimes questions might be more or less similar, so don't immediately jump on a gun, start writing the answers. Read the answer question correctly, and then make sure that this is the relevant answer. Now, duties. Now, Article 149 states about the duties. Okay, so I'll give you some small break. Let us take a small break for it right now. Okay, so we'll catch up. Now, what's the time over there? I think for me it is 9:25. So probably time it is like 11, right? Or 12 o'clock is the time, right? Shall we catch up at 12:15? Is it okay? Or 12:10 like that we'll catch up. 12:10 we'll catch up. Is it fine for you guys? Okay, so we'll catch up at 12:10. We'll see about it. Great. Accounts done by him or any other person who is responsible in that behalf. So you should make sure that it has been prepared. Disclosing, like as we speak, in terms of a proper trading organization, you should know what type of income is direct income and what type of income is indirect income. As I said, if it's a real estate means the primary major income will be a rental fee income or a management fee. Dividends, fixed deposits, these things and all, it's a secondary income or indirect income. These incomes are properly coded under the respective heads. Sales, either income, profit, rental income. So rental income means under rental income, revenue from commercial properties like shopping malls, revenue from the residential properties. It could be an apartments or it could be a villas, a compound, gated community compound, individual villas will be there. So like this, you have to make sure. Then as you know that you have to submit it to the president of or governor, or state or administrator of union territory. The respective territories you have to submit the books of accounts. So this is one of the major duties of CNAG. Then the general provisions of audit. Same thing. We all know expenditure has been done from the consolidation of funds. That is the major funds for all the governments, the government sections or audits actually. So from that consolidation of funds, so they keep spending money, either expenditure or they fund to the other state municipality or other state government or other union government. They try to do this. So you have to ensure that audit it has been spent from the consolidation of funds account. It also includes state, union and territory. Also money available are dispersed legally. That is the most important thing, because sometimes what happens is they might have allocated the funds for some specific purposes, but at the end of it, it would have not been happened. Okay. The next thing is you have to report all the transactions, including the contingency funds. Sometimes they might have used for the contingency funds, emergency funds of account. So that also you should keep a clear track and monitor them, whether a proper resolution approval has been taken place, whether the concerned person member who's having the power has been approved in spending the expenditure by using the contingency funds. You have to make sure that. Then again, audit of report of all trading, manufacturing, P&L balance sheet, including subsidiary accounts. So under this general provisions of audit, these are the points to be covered. Be very specific. Don't write these points for these settings. Under each settings, you have to mention the relevant points only. Don't try to swap the points for these settings. You try to bring it to the different thing. No, please don't do that. Sometimes, if you're feeling that you are not able to recap the heading, please don't mention any heading. Write all the points in the sequential order 1, 2, 3. Don't use sequential number. Use like this bullet points, like star, asterisk, or like this a tick mark in the examination, because only the question number you should be able to see in the margin. Inside that, you have to mention only. Otherwise, sometimes you will also get confused. Examiners, chances are that they may get confused as well. So always use these bullet symbols. That will give you more attractive for the examiner, and he will ensure that point wise he will check each 2 points, 1 mark, half mark. Chances are that you'll be getting almost 4 marks fully. The next one is audit of expenditure. So as I said, substantial finance, which means that some government, some state, they may be funding to the another government. So you have to ensure that it has been properly been financed, and you have to see the conditions. Any body is being financed from the consolidation fund, because this is a major fund account, like current, like how we say current account. For them, it is called consolidation of funds. From that consolidation of funds only, the money expenditure will be spent for expenditure, or they finance it to the other state or union territory. So the condition is the borrowed amount should not be less than 25 lakhs. Should not be less than 25 lakhs. And also whatever the amount they spent, it should not be less than 70%. So they should ensure that all the money almost have been spent. Otherwise, it shall be considered as that amount has been spent for a specific purposes. So this 2-mark question they might ask you on the condition, how it has been substantially financed and what is the threshold limit. So you have to be very clear on this condition: borrowing not less than 25 lakhs and total expenditure not less than 70% of the amount spent. So it shall be deemed as so if this condition satisfies, then they will say that that amount has been spent for that specific purposes. Basically, when you borrow loan for what? If you're buying a car loan, means you'll go and buy car only. So sometimes what will happen is, when in some, or even in some entity, what they will do is, they will take loan for one purpose, they will spend for something else. They will take loan for working capital purpose, but they will go and invest that money in the share market or some other building they will go and buy. Okay, this especially happens in the fireworks industries. Okay, for them, now Diwali is coming, so they will be getting a lot of sales. Once their production will keep going on. So during this time, many banks will be giving loan to the fireworks industries, to respective managements. They will say this money should be used only for the production. But you know what we people will do? It's all mentality. They will take that money, they will buy some assets. Okay, some in a rich place like a farmhouse or something, they'll keep buying. But whereas even some people, they'll be having their own funds also to operate the business. So for them, they can sustain in the market. The going concern will not get impacted. Otherwise, what will happen? Going concern will get impacted, because once the Diwali is finished, within 3 weeks or 4 weeks, these fireworks management has to repay the loan to the banking institution. It is not like a normal trader who takes the loan like a term loan. They can keep on rolling CC loan and all, cash credits and all, like they keep on rotating. The question is, no need of point of repaying. They deposit, they give payment to the suppliers or vendors. Again, they do the deposit collection. So it keeps going on. Whereas for firework industries, they have to repay the loan once the Diwali festival is over. So this is how it functions. So you have to ensure that the conditions are being followed on the threshold limits. 25 lakhs and not less than 70% should be spent. Audit of grant or loans. Yes, specific purpose to say authoritative body, not being a foreign state. So it should be given to local bodies only. CAG should ensure that procedure is being followed, and only the concerned person has given the approval. The authority satisfies all conditions. Okay, and you have the right to access the books of accounts. You should give a notice to them. So because sometimes you will be sitting in the south, that body will be in the Maharashtra state. If you want to do the Maharashtra union or state, you have to give a notice, and you have to tell the concerned person to bring the books of accounts. So he'll be able to provide you the books of accounts. You can access them to scrutinize the procedures. So these are all the duties are there. As I said, if you forget the heading, you make sure that you mention them point wise. Again, audit of receipts. As I told you, all the receipts will be, it could be either borrowings or collections. So whatever the collection comes, it will goes to the consolidation of funds only. You should ensure that the procedure has been duly followed. And also the allocation of revenue. As I said, if it's a real estate industry means the section of income should be classified rental revenue, under that commercial, residential. Like that, you should have proper allocation revenue section wise. Even in the government or the union or state, they will have section wise, like municipality fees, uh, local sales tax, house corporation tax, water tax. You are collecting, right? Many things you are doing that. So you have to ensure that all these revenues are being allocated under the respective sections. And again, same point, examination of books of accounts. Some points it looks like repeating, okay, but no other option. You have to mention that point only in the same way. And again, audit of stores and inventories. Yes, as per AS2, inventory to be verified, and you should govern, ensure properly carried out the procedures, the issues and the receipts, bill cards, everything. And if you find anything deficiencies, you have to bring it to the attention of the government immediately. Or if you notice that there is a control system weakness, as I said at the beginning, the first point, every department will be having a proper control system, should be followed by the respective department. It should be compliant. Last year followed, this year not fulfilled. No, still you have the audit findings. You have to report to the management, highlight that, ensure that a recommendation and course of action is taken promptly. This is how the auditor's duty. And verify the purchases are properly sanctioned according to the rules and regulations by the competent authority, which means that when you say the competent authority means the concerned person, only the concerned person have the power to place orders. And and you should ensure that that person is following a proper purchase procedure, like he has to get proper quotation. He has to get a proper quotation, and he has to get a proper comparative quotes prepared, and then proper approvals to be in place, and ensure that only the concerned person is doing the approvals in place and everything. Okay. And the next thing is prices are been agreement with those contracts. The contract is there, so you have to ensure that audit and report them if you come across any findings. Okay. And the last thing is audit of government companies and corporation. This section, when we study the company audit, at that time I'll be going in detail. But right now, from the CAG point of view, in the examination, if any questions come, means you should write some basic points. So you should say in relation of audit companies, Companies Act has to be followed, correct? So 139(5) and 7 is part of the government companies. There are some other sections where it is applicable for the private companies and listed companies. Okay. So upon appointment, audit shall be carried out. Same thing, he shall submit the report to the CAG as per the directions given by the directions given by him. Because here a normal auditor will be appointed and he gives it to the CAG. CAG will submit the report to the president. This is how the cycle takes place. Okay. So this is how the duties, the most important section, compulsory questions will come. They might ask you one specific section alone. You should be very cautious, especially this one, substantial finance grants or loans. They might ask you the 2 mark questions. I have seen it up in the suggested answers of some 3 years, 4 years, but continuously 2 times have been asked in the examination. Okay. Now the next one is powers actually. Powers will be covering. Okay. We'll try to finish the powers and expenditures as well. Powers means, yes, you are auditor, you are the CAG, you have the right to inspect office books of accounts controlled by union or state. As we know, union or state government, municipalities only. To require any books of accounts, you have to ask them for, you can tell them to send to a specific place. As I said, you might be in Tamil Nadu, the state government will be in Maharashtra. You can ask them, send those documents over here. But nowadays, everything are e-documents. Go click, you can view the document. If it is there, you can do the approval and everything, verification. To raise questions, if you have any observations, you can immediately call for such information. You can call the concerned competent authority person. Always keep that in mind. The concerned person will be there. Concerned person is the thing, but he is a competent authority. Only those persons only will be having a specific powers and rules and regulations. He can approve for the payments, purchases and all. Okay. So if you have any examination, you can raise for them such information. While carrying the audit, you have the power to dispense also, like any detailed part of audit of any transactions. You can call for any further detailed more information as well. So far, you saw the duties. Now the powers is finished. Now, expenditure of audit. As we all know, All the governments means they keep on spending money. Right, correct, right. So the expenditure will be always more and above the receipts only. Always there will be deficit. Like our state will say, no money, gajala gali. So they will get the subsidy from the central government. So now how you will do the audit of expenditures of audit? How are you going to verify? Because it will be huge transactions, staff salary, blah, 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 many things should be there. But again, at a high level, as I said, you should have aware of the knowledge of the business, how the constitution has been framed, what are the conditions, control systems. These high levels you should keep in mind. Now coming back to the expenditure auditors, the first one is audit against the rules and order, the most important thing. Sometimes they might ask only one section only. So you should write only one section only. So which means that in accordance with financial rules and regulations, we all know the constitution is framed by the government only, by the competent authority, and ensure that those rules and regulations are being followed. Like as we say, companies means company law has to be followed, societies means bylaws has to be followed, the rules and regulations. You have to ensure that they are followed consistently. If it is a charitable trust means trust, the compliances you have to follow. You have to spend 88% of the amount. That is the most important point over the cash. Okay, you cannot accumulate money without spending. Otherwise, you will be taxed. So like this, you have to ensure that there has been provision followed, essential requirements, consistency. You have to keep on ensuring it has been followed throughout the period. Not only that period, even the next year also, you have to consistently follow it. If there's any conflict, immediately you have to report them. Some expenditures sometimes not be approved by the concerned person, but however the hierarchy might be done up. So you have to make sure that whether the concerned person, the competent authority having the powers to spend that expenditure. So without the authority, without the competent person authority, you should ensure that the expenditure is not being spent. At the end of the day, these are all government money. We all know that when you say government, it is to be spent from the consolidation of funds account only. Or the next level, contingent fund account is there. So for everything, you have to make sure that the proper procedure is being followed, the rules and regulations. Okay. Then audit of sanction. When any expenditure has been sanctioned or approval takes place, immediately you have to ensure that authorizing, who's the authorized person, whether he has been followed the procedure, delegation of power. Sometimes that officer might be having to spend only 10 lakhs, but he might be approved a bill for 50 lakhs. 10 lakhs where it is, 50 lakhs where it is. You cannot approve like this. So you have to delegation of power. You should ensure that the delegation has been followed, whether only the concerned person is approving those expenditure. So you have to see the audit of sanction, who's doing the approval, everything. Then again, audit against provision of funds. As we all know, amount spent only against the provision available. If there is no funds, you cannot spend. And also it does not exceed the appropriation. Sometimes they may have kept the budget this year only 5 lakhs for that town municipality. One village will be there. Not more than 5 lakhs you cannot spend. So you have to ensure that the provision has been followed. 5 lakhs means 5 lakhs only. You cannot spend more than that. Okay. The most important is proprietary audit and performance audit. So far we have seen these three headings which comes under expenditure of audit expenditure. Okay. So under expenditure of audit, you do have 5 points. 3 points we covered onto it. Now the last 2 points is more critical, where you have to be more cautious every time. Even when they studied it came, even now also they are asking these questions. Proprietary audit and performance audit. It will be quite interesting. You see this, what is proprietary audit? Sometimes the expenditure will be incurred in line with the principles only. But you are trying to bring out, because you are a chartered accountant, you are trying to bring out if there is anything expenditure spent improper, like ineffective. Because at the end of the day, these are all government money. Whatever money has been spent, it should benefit the public. Correct, right? So sometimes you might have a situation that this expenditure is being spent ineffective. You couldn't avoid, but it has been spent improperly, like spending money useless. You can say in one word. So, but you cannot write that like that statement, but you have to write like this in a professional way, trying to bring the improper expenditure or unavoidable or avoidable expenditure or ineffective. So you cannot avoid them. And the most important thing is the principles is expenditure should not be prima facie. Prima facie means you know that it should be benefit for some community, some people. It should benefit everyone. Sometimes no authority should exercise its powers which will directly indirectly to his own advantage, because some officers, they keep approving. They will say, okay, if I approve this, I will get some brokerage commission. Okay, because off the record, I should not say. When I do the TNSTC audit, I have seen many things. Okay, many things in the sentence, including what you foresee. It could be even under the carpet, over the carpet. It could be many things. But when you see the books of accounts, it will be clear. But when you see the background picture, in reality, it will be a different ball game altogether. Okay, which we cannot discuss right now. If I'm to discuss face to face, we can discuss it now. So the next thing is authority. So you should ensure that only the concerned competent authority should pass the order. Public money should not be utilized for the benefit of public person unless for these 4 points, yes, you can spend a small amount, insignificant. Claim amount will be very small. They can still recover from the court. Okay, amount of allowance like travel to meet expenses of particular time. So for these expenses, they can spend, okay, routine expenditure, routine day-to-day expenditure. Okay, so under proprietary audit, you have to write it fully, including general principles. Sometimes they might ask you about the general principles only. So you don't try to write the first 3 points. If they are very specific, means you have to mention only these points on the principles. Don't beat around the bush, giving some inappropriate answers to the examination. Be very specific to your question. Okay, so this is what about proprietary audit. Sometimes they might ask you about difference between proprietary and performance audit. Okay, it is more or less as the same only, but you cannot you cannot use a tabular format and present the answers. So you have to write in one page proprietary audit and in another page performance audit actually. So what is performance audit is, I'll tell you a good example. Sometimes when anyone wants to do some project and they will say this is a good scheme, and if I open the scheme, it will benefit the public. But at the end of the day, that scheme will be a crap scheme only. Many schemes will be failure. Of course, some schemes are success. We should appreciate the government also. But actually, some becomes useless. In a way, becomes inefficiency. That is why you are trying to bring out the improper expenditure. So when you feel that scheme is useless, so your proprietary audit will come in place and you will say that, see, ineffective expenditure, improper, it has been carried out. If the scheme is achieved and benefit to the public, yes, it's a good thing. It's benefit the results, and because of the scheme, the entire village got benefited. Okay, now how from audit aspect point of view, as auditor, what you will check? You should know the topic, what type of scheme. You should see whether feasibility study has been done, preliminary study, there will be a report. You should do a proper planning, check how it has been done, whether the scheme has been implemented stage by stage. The first 2 months, they will be implemented on scheme, and the remaining 3 months, they will say, okay, the remaining scheme will be rolled out. So in over a period of 6 months of time, that scheme has been completely rolled out in the public. So you have to execute them, audit report and everything. And at the end of the day, you should ensure that because of the scheme, whether it yielded good results or not from the public, various program schemes. If it is not, then immediately proprietary audit will come in. You will say that, oh, bring out it's ineffective expenditure. Because it's improper expenditure, you cannot justify. Amount has been spent unwantedly, which benefits some specific person. At the end of the day, it should benefit the public only. Okay. So this is about audit of expenditure. You do have 5 headings. The most important is proprietary and performance audit. Okay. And the next one is audit of receipts. As we said, how it has been tackled it up. Ensure that revenue, everything properly credited. Regulations should be properly been followed as per framed the authority. Okay, adequate checks, you need to check it up, especially in the case of some refunds may take place. You should ensure that the revenue has not been lost, because sometimes during the refund and all, sometimes duplication can happen. So you should ensure that proper control system has been followed, credit notes, and you should extend the audit if required. You can extend the scope also. Till you get satisfied, you have to make sure that the entire procedure has been followed onto it. So this is what about this, the complete CNG part. Okay, CNG part is the most important thing. From your examination point of view, before the revision examination, this PowerPoint presentation will help you much better. Because before the examination, you cannot do the revision all the 12 chapters in the same time. So at least if I give you this PPT, within a half an hour time, you can read this PPT presentation and you can quickly recap the key points that will help you to present in the examination, and then you have to complete the sentences fully. Okay, because here it will be very small sentences only, submit to the president, but you have to write a full form. That will help you once you keep studying for the institute material. That will help you to, okay, this is how the point has to be framed up in the examination. Okay. So with this, today we'll stop with this. Tomorrow, what I will do is we will connect to the same timing, and tomorrow I'll be trying to complete this local bodies, NGO, okay, partnership firm, sole trade, sole proprietor, LLP, okay, charitable trust, educational school, colleges, cinema theater auditor, okay. So we'll try to cover up all these things, everything. So this PPT will definitely help you before the examination to go through it completely, okay. And also you see over here how I present every point wise, and some key points I have underlined it up. You should also do the same thing. If anything, some critical points comes, you should also do the underlining like this. So that will help the examiner to ensure that, oh, okay, the candidate has studied properly and is having a thorough knowledge of the subject. So you have to make count of it. So wherever, if you see, I am also underlining the keywords completely. So like this, you have to do it. If you take this LLP and all, we'll discuss this tomorrow. Don't worry. So I have been prepared a table like this. You can see here advantages for a partnership firm. What are the advantages for LLP? So headings might be looks resemblance, but if you prepare like this a table, that will more helpful for you. Okay. So we will catch up on tomorrow. Okay. So is there anything else you have like as of now? And I want to understand from you whether I'm going very speed, or whether you want me to reduce the speed a little bit, or whether it is very clarity you could able to gauge what I'm trying to convey the message to you. Is it 5 minutes? That I will maintain the same tempo. Otherwise, I have to get balance of myself, so that I don't want you to get uncomfortable level completely. Okay. So from my point of view, if you go and attend the examination, you should clear. That's it. With this, no more further auditing. Coming back next level, final only. So this is my point of view. So today we'll try to wrap it up quickly. Tomorrow, first thing, we'll try to complete this entire chapter of it, because I have the PPT ready with me. Okay. And one more thing, I was going through the syllabus. Okay, this September 24 and Jan 25, I click this model 2. Okay, you have these chapters. Okay, we'll be covering this one. Okay, the next one is audit report. I do have a separate chapter is there. An audit of banks, it is here. Okay, and even this chapter also I have the institute material. So we will try to cover all these chapters in a quick span of time, because I do have a PowerPoint presentation. So all these topics are been crystal clearly I have been prepared it up before for the previous batch in Singar Academy. So I'll be able to share this PowerPoint also to you, which will help you for before the examination completely. Okay. So the tomorrow session we'll try to complete this 9th chapter. The only thing is, as and when I cover, please ensure you study the same time itself. Please don't keep it for the next week or something. You will definitely will not have the grip of it. So, okay, so don't expect this, so that at least if you have any doubts in the next day session, you can raise questions or drop a chat message in that thing. Okay, so we'll close with today's session. Anything else, do let me know. Is it fine? Shall we wind up? Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.